In the heart of a city that never slept, where shadows clung to secrets like a lover's embrace, Detective Arthur found his only solace in the arms of his wife, Evelyn. Their home, a sanctuary of polished wood and dim lamplight, was a world away from the rain-slicked streets he patrolled. He was the city's sharpest mind, a man who read deceit in the flicker of an eye. Yet with Evelyn, his guard fell away. She was an enigma wrapped in silk, her laughter echoing through their quiet life, a melody that promised forever. In those fleeting moments of peace, under the soft glow of a table lamp, he saw not the mysteries of the city, but the simple, profound truth of their love. A truth he believed was as solid as the cold ground beneath his feet. The illusion shattered with the morning light. Arthur awoke to a silence that was heavier than any he'd known. The space beside him in their bed, cold and empty. The scent of her perfume lingered in the air, a cruel ghost of her presence. On the nightstand, where her hand would have rested, lay a single photograph. It was a picture of a man he didn't know, standing before a landmark in a foreign city. There was no note, no explanation, only this cryptic clue. The quiet love of the night before had been replaced by a deafening mystery. A frantic energy seized him, and Arthur plunged back into the familiar darkness of his world, not as a detective on a case, but as a man searching for a piece of his own soul. His investigation dragged him through the city's grimy underbelly, from smoky jazz clubs to clandestine backrooms, each lead a dead end, each face a mask of lies. Days bled into a desperate, sleepless week. The photograph, now worn at the edges from his constant handling, finally led him to the city's desolate shipyard. The air hung thick with the smell of salt and rust, and the only sound was the mournful cry of a distant foghorn. Under the pale, indifferent light of the moon, he saw her, Evelyn. She stood on a pier, her silhouette sharp against the dark, churning water. But this was not the damsel in distress he had imagined. She was calm, composed, a figure of icy control. He watched, frozen in the shadows, as she handed a small, leather-bound file to a man whose face he recognized from the photograph, a notorious foreign spy. There was no struggle, no coercion, just a clean, professional exchange. The woman he loved was not a victim. She was a player in a game far more dangerous than any he had ever encountered. The final, devastating truth hit him like a physical blow. Evelyn was never just his enchanting wife. She was a ghost, a professional shadow, a counterintelligence agent of the highest order. Their life together, their elegant home, their shared laughter, the love he believed was his anchor. It was all a meticulously crafted illusion, a long-term cover for a mission he couldn't begin to comprehend. As the spy melted back into the fog, Evelyn cast one last unreadable glance in his direction, a silent acknowledgement of his presence. Then she too turned and disappeared into the night, leaving Arthur utterly alone on the pier. He was no longer just a detective standing in the cold. He was the final victim of the ultimate betrayal, a man left with nothing but the wreckage of a life that was never real.